I'm standing in the midst of my living room, the warm glow of fairy lights bouncing off the exposed brick walls that I spent hours renovating by hand. A handcrafted banner created from old wallpaper sways softly in the evening air from the open window. "Happy birthday, Mira." Laughter hums through the space, mingling with the clink of glasses and the low hum of music. Friends and family fill the room, celebrating, toasting, smiling. 4 years. 4 years of blood, sweat, and sleepless nights turned this place from a crumbling shell into my dream home. Every inch of it, every hand-stained hardwood plank, every piece of crown molding, I rebuilt with my own 2 hands. Even Nathan, my ever-stoic brother, had whistled in appreciation when he first saw it. Then, a sharp knock at the door. The room stills as I pull it open. A man in a crisp uniform stands there, posture stiff, an elegantly wrapped silver envelope resting in his gloved hands. "Miss Harding," he says, his voice cool and professional. "This requires your immediate attention." My fingers tremble as I untie the bow. The paper inside is thick, expensive, heavy in a way that has nothing to do with its weight. I unfold the letter, and the bold letterhead hits me like a punch to the ribs. The floor tilts. The words blur. 21 days. That's how long I have to leave my home. The silence stretches. Every eye in the room is on me. My parents, Richard and Lillian, exchange unreadable glances. Nathan's face has gone pale, his champagne glass frozen mid-air. No one moves, no one breathes. What is this? My voice is barely above a whisper, strangled, unrecognizable. The birthday cake on the counter sits untouched, its candles unlit, mocking me with its meaningless cheer. "Now, Mira," Sienna's voice slices through the silence, smooth as silk, just as cold. "Let's be rational about this." My cousin steps forward, her designer heels clicking against the floor as I refinished myself. "The market is incredibly hot right now," she continues. "It would be foolish not to capitalize on the opportunity." Capitalize. The word is sour in my mouth. "This is my home," I say, my pulse hammering in my ears. "I put 4 years of my life into this place." Sienna barely blinks. The apartment remains in Richard and Lillian's names. She says it so simply, as if I'm a child who just doesn't understand how the world works. The financial potential is too significant to ignore. A slideshow of memories flashes behind my eyes. My parents' vague answers when I asked about the deed. Sienna's little smirks at family gatherings. Nathan's awkward silences. All those little moments I brushed aside, ignored. But now the picture is crystal clear. I turn to my parents, voice cracking. "You knew." Vivian wrings her hands. "Won't look at me." Richard clears his throat. "It's just business, sweetheart, nothing personal." Nothing personal. I see my receipts in my mind, thousands of dollars. The permits, the sweat, the exhaustion, the dreams I poured into every inch of this place. Nothing personal. My hands clench, the eviction notice crumpling in my grip. Tears sting my eyes, but I refuse to let them fall. Not here, not in front of them. I turn and walk away, my feet carrying me upstairs to my study, my space, my sanctuary. The walls are covered in blueprints, renovation sketches, the evidence of everything I built. The city lights outside twinkle, bright and indifferent, and as I stare out at them, one question settles in my chest. What am I going to do next? But the truth is, I already know. This isn't just about an apartment anymore. This is about justice, about truth, about family bonds twisted into weapons. And I am done being their target. My eyes flick to the detailed timeline pinned above my discovery permit. Every renovation milestone meticulously documented. Celeste thinks she's orchestrated the perfect betrayal, but she has no idea how much I track everything. Every email, every conversation, every sideways glance I ignored when I shouldn't have. My fingers tighten around the silver locket at my throat, my grandmother's. Its familiar weight steadies me. Sienna's deception ends here. She thinks I'll slink away quietly, pack my things, and leave with dignity. She's about to learn just how wrong she is. My hands shake as I spread the renovation documents across my desk. Under the soft glow of my desk lamp, permits, contractor agreements, and material receipts paint a clear picture. 4 years of my life laid bare in paper and ink. But then, something catches my eye. The signature on the latest building permit. It's wrong. I grab my phone, scrolling frantically until I find a photo of the original document. My stomach turns. The dates don't match. The new permit is backdated 3 months, but I remember filing it just 6 weeks ago. No, 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 I mutter under my breath, flipping through the stack. More inconsistencies surface, notary stamps with mismatched dates, permit applications with altered numbers, contracts that shouldn't even exist. Each discovery hits like a physical blow. The evidence is right here, woven through layers of carefully falsified paperwork. This wasn't just a sudden decision to sell. Celeste has been planning this for months, manipulating records, forging signatures, setting up a clean, legal-looking exit for herself. Her perfectly manicured fingerprints are all over this. A soft knock breaks the silence. Lucas stands in the doorway, his tall frame casting a long shadow against the floor. His face is drawn, guilty. My usually confident brother looks small for the first time in his life. Can we talk? His voice cracks slightly. I motion to the chair across from my desk, not trusting myself to speak. Lucas sits heavily, his eyes fixed on his hands. I should have told you sooner, he says, the words tumbling out in a rush. At Mom and Dad's anniversary party last month, I overheard something. My pulse pounds in my ears as he continues. Celeste and Damien, Meridian Real Estate's CEO, were in Dad's study. I wasn't even trying to eavesdrop, but their voices carried through the open door. She was laying out the whole plan. I gripped the edge of my desk. What exactly did she say? Lucas drags a hand through his hair, his fingers shaking. Market values, profit margins, quick sales. She made it sound so clinical, like she wasn't talking about destroying someone's home. Your home. The words land like a knife to the ribs. And you said nothing, I whisper. I convinced myself it wasn't real. His voice drops to barely a breath. That Celeste was just talking, dreaming big like she always does. But then I saw her meeting with Mom and Dad, feeding them doubts, playing on their fears about the market crashing. I should have. I turned to the evidence wall, my mind racing. She's been playing them. The emails, the subtle shifts in tone, the carefully crafted messages, it all clicks into place. I grab my laptop and pull up an email chain. Look at this, I say, scrolling fast. She's been feeding Adrian our family's financials for weeks. Guest lists from family events, renovation budgets, even Mom and Dad's retirement plans. Lucas stares at the screen, his face draining of color. The betrayal is deeper than I ever imagined, and now I know exactly how to end it. My voice trembles, not with fear, but with rage. She's not just selling the apartment, she's selling us out. As I organize the evidence, the scale of Sienna's betrayal sharpens into painful clarity. The perfect one, the golden child, has orchestrated this entire scheme with the precision of a surgeon. And Damien, his name surfaces in email after email, a shadow stretching across our family's future. His reputation in real estate makes him dangerous. His alliance with Celeste makes him lethal. My phone buzzes. Elsie. She's been my lifeline since the party, using her corporate law expertise to untangle Sienna's web. I found something, she says, skipping any pretense of small talk. The permit alterations, they're tied to a series of property deals Damien's company pushed through last year. Same pattern, same tactics. Send everything, I tell her, already clearing space on my desk. We need, a text cuts across the screen, an unknown number flashing with a message that makes my blood run cold. Back off now, or you'll regret it. Some things should stay buried. I show Lucas, his face drains of color. Mira, maybe we should. No. My voice is steel. I'm done backing off. I'm done playing their game, done letting them move me like a pawn. I pull open the bottom drawer of my filing cabinet, my fingers brushing against a folder I nearly forgot existed. As I flip it open, I feel the shift, the weight of finality settling over me. Lucas leans forward. What is that? I glance at him, a grim smile curling at my lips. That depends, I murmur, on how badly Celeste wants to play this game. The Grand Regency Hotel sparkles under crystal chandeliers, polished, marble reflecting the swish of silk gowns and the crisp folds of tailored suits. Tonight's charity gala should be about historic preservation. Instead, it's about damage control. My phone won't stop buzzing. Sienna's carefully curated lies are spreading like wildfire across social media. I weave through the crowd, my heels clicking with purpose. Slipping into the private lounge, I sink into a leather chair, laptop balanced on my knees. My hands shake, but not with fear, with resolve. A few keystrokes and I'm in Sienna's corporate archives, and then, got you. I scan the emails, my pulse hammering as I take in the discrepancies. The timestamps don't match the metadata. The permit numbers are sequential when they should be randomized. Each falsified document is a fresh wound, but also ammunition. A notification pops up. Another live stream from Sienna. Her voice slithers through my earbuds, all honeyed concern. Of course, we're deeply worried about the structural integrity of the renovations, she coos. The safety of our community must come first. My fists clench. Lies. The renovation permits are flawless. I spent months ensuring every detail was airtight. But there it is on the screen. Doctored inspection reports, leaked at the perfect time to cast doubt. Then I find the recording. Sienna's voice is crisp, deliberate, cold. The property values in that neighborhood are about to skyrocket, Damien. Once we force a quick sale, the returns will be astronomical. A low chuckle, Damien. Your cousin won't know what hit her. I sit back, gripping the edge of the desk. The gala hums just beyond the doors, laughter and clinking glasses a backdrop to my entire life unraveling. Celeste is out there right now, working the room, spinning her web, every handshake, every air kiss, another stitch in the fabric of her deception. She thinks she's untouchable. That ends tonight. The next evening, Bellevue Manor is a shrine to old money. Crystal stemware glows in candlelight. Polished silverware reflects decades of wealth and power, the perfect setting for what comes next. I wait until the main course is served. Forks scrape against fine china. A murmur of polite conversation swirls around the table. Then, I push back my chair. The legs scrape against hardwood, the sound slicing through the hushed atmosphere. I stand. I have something to share. The entire table turns toward me. Sienna's fork pauses halfway to her lips. Game on. I have copies of every email you've sent regarding my property, I say, my hands trembling slightly but my voice unwavering, including the ones where you and Damien discuss falsifying inspection reports. The room falls into absolute silence. Sienna's carefully practiced smile doesn't slip, but I see the way her knuckles tighten around her fork. Mira, darling, you're making a scene. Her voice is silky, controlled. Perhaps we should discuss this privately, like you discussed my eviction privately? I counter, pulling out my phone and pressing play. Her own voice fills the air. The property values in that neighborhood are about to skyrocket. The color drains from her face. That's enough, she snaps, her voice cracking like a whip. You're clearly unstable. Wrong. The voice doesn't come from me. I turn. Lucas. He's on his feet, his dinner napkin crushed in his fist. She's not unstable, he says, his voice firm. I heard you, Sienna. That day in your office with Damien. I heard everything. Next to him, Elsie stands, fire in her eyes. I have copies of the original permits and every inspection report, she announces. Would you like me to show everyone the difference between Mira's actual renovation documentation and your creative edits? A shift ripples through the room. A current of whispers, rustling silk, the scrape of silverware against fine china. I feel it in my bones, the moment when truth starts outweighing lies. For just a second, Sienna's mask slips. Beneath it, I see calculation, desperation. Later that night, I sit in my study, surrounded by evidence, history, and resolve. The walls are lined with blue permits, each one proof of the years I spent building this home, brick by brick. Beyond the window, the city stretches out in a sea of lights. My city, my home, my truth. I reach for my grandmother's locket, the warm silver grounding me as I methodically organize the evidence. Physical documents go into color-coded folders. Digital files upload to secure cloud storage. On my desk sits Jonathan's business card, my attorney. His reputation for exposing fraud is exactly what I need. My phone buzzes. Samantha Clark, a journalist who's been tracking local real estate corruption for years. Gregory Holt, the community board president. Uncle Robert. His name surprises me. I hesitate, then answer. His voice is heavy with guilt. Sienna's been working on this for months, Mira, he says. We should have seen it sooner, should have said something. I hang up and stare at the final file on my desktop. The recording, the one I haven't shared yet, the one that captures Sienna and Damien, unguarded, laying out their entire scheme. My secret weapon, waiting for the perfect moment. Tomorrow is the town hall meeting. Tomorrow, everything changes. The question isn't whether I'm ready. The question is, are they? The town hall hums with tension. Every seat is filled, residents, investors, reporters clutching notepads. Camera phones point toward the podium like accusing fingers. This space is a far cry from Sienna's carefully curated galas. No luxury, no handshakes over champagne flutes. Here power feels different, raw, real. I step forward. My laptop clicks as it connects to the projector. The blank screen behind me waits. In my pocket, the flash drive feels heavy with truth. Thank you all for coming, I begin, my voice steady despite the pounding of my heart. I'm here to share some information about the proposed development deal for Highland Avenue. In the third row, Sienna shifts. Her designer suit is a sharp contrast against the room's folding chairs. Next to her, Damien sits with forced ease, but I see the cracks. I pull up the first document. These are the original renovation permits, I say. My fingers hover over the final file, the recording that will shatter everything. Then, the screen flickers, goes black. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Someone coughs. A bead of sweat trails down my spine. I click frantically, trying to restore the connection. A voice cuts through the tension. Technical difficulties? Sienna. Her tone is mocking, sweet with poison. Perhaps we should move on to. I turn, meeting her gaze head on. We're going to see this through, I say, my voice ringing across the room. Every last second of it. The screen flickers back to life. The Rosewood Banquet Hall glows with false promises. Crystal chandeliers scatter light across champagne flutes and the polished veneers of Silicon Valley's elite. Every detail, the gilded decor, the designer gowns, the carefully curated whispers of wealth, feels meticulously constructed, a facade, much like Celeste and Damien's perfect engagement. My heels sink into plush carpet as I move through the crowd, my steps measured, deliberate. This celebration, their crowning achievement, is about to become their undoing. A flash of movement catches my eye in a gilded mirror. I barely recognize myself in the reflection. Sleek black blazer, hair swept into an elegant chignon, grandmother's silver locket catching the light. My hands don't shake as I pull out my phone. 3 quick taps. Showtime. The projector screen descends silently behind the stage where Celeste stands, her voice dripping with practiced charm. Adrian and I are so blessed to have such wonderful family and friends. Her words trail off as the first document appears. My original renovation permits. Dated, notarized, legitimate. Then her forgeries. The discrepancies are glaring. A ripple of murmurs spreads through the crowd. Sienna's champagne glass trembles, catching the light like a warning. I step forward, my voice clear and deliberate. I think, I say, letting the silence stretch. We should discuss the real estate deal you've been orchestrating. I ascend the stage, each click of my heels against hardwood a punctuation mark. Specifically, I continue, how you forged documents to steal my home. Sienna's lips part in shock. Mira, this is hardly the time. Actually, I counter, it's exactly the time. I pull out my phone again, press play. Her voice, clear, cold, damning, fills the banquet hall. Once we get rid of her, the property's ours. A collective shift ripples through the crowd. Investors exchange nervous glances. Mrs. Chen, one of our biggest backers, leans forward, her expression darkening. Across the room, 2 real estate moguls whisper behind manicured hands. The truth spreads like spilled wine across white carpet. This is absurd. Celeste's composure cracks. Mira is clearly unstable. She's always been jealous of my success, my relationship with Damien. The documents speak for themselves, I interrupt, gesturing to the screen. One by one, the pieces of her deception continue to scroll before them. Every forged permit, every manipulated contract, every secret meeting. These are obviously fabricated, Celeste hisses, her voice losing its practiced silk. She whirls to the crowd, desperation bleeding through her perfect makeup. You all know me, she pleads. I would never, a voice cuts through the tension. I can verify these documents. Nathan. He stands tablet in hand, his face pale but resolute. I have the original email threads right here. Then Elsie steps forward, adding the final nail to the coffin. And I have a notary's sworn statement confirming the signatures were forged. The room erupts, a murmur of disbelief. The shuffle of chairs, a slow building storm of shock and anger. I turn my attention to Damien, He hasn't moved. His knuckles are white around his champagne flute. His calculated silence speaks louder than Celeste's frantic unraveling. She makes one last desperate attempt to salvage herself. This is nothing but a vindictive display from a failed designer who has proof of everything. I cut in. I pull out a final folder, slim, elegant, devastating. The screen shifts, not just forged permits, not just one stolen home, a network of fraud. Celeste and Damien, tied to wider real estate corruption, shell companies, fake investors. Land flipped through manipulated deals and buried contracts. The chandelier's glow suddenly feels too bright, the air too thin. The silence is absolute. I scan the room, locking eyes with investors, real estate moguls, powerful family members. They came to celebrate love. Instead, they found fraud, and the reckoning has only just begun. Phones are already out. Investors no doubt calling their lawyers, damage control in full swing. But it's Mrs. Chen who breaks the silence first. She stands with a quiet grace, adjusting the cuff of her tailored jacket. "I believe," she says, voice cool and measured, "we all need to reevaluate our business relationships." A ripple moves through the room. A shift. I step back from the microphone, my part done. The evidence speaks for itself now, spreading through the crowd like wildfire. Adrian is locked in harsh whispers with his legal team. Investors demand explanations. Family members choose sides. The once flawless facade of Celeste and Damien's empire cracks, the damage spreading with every second that passes. And then, I see her. In the gilded mirror, my own reflection stares back. Not broken, not afraid, brilliant, fierce, unstoppable. But this isn't over. I turn back to the document, scanning one final time. Names jump out. Corporations, shell companies, a tangled web of deception stretching far beyond one stolen property. This isn't just about me anymore. This is about an entire network of property fraud, and Damien knows it. I watch him from across the room. His perfect posture crumbles. He loosens his tie, eyes darting to the exits like a trapped animal. The realization hits him hard. This isn't just a scandal. This could destroy everything. I step up to the microphone one last time. When faced with betrayal, I say, my voice steady, unshaken, do we stay silent to keep the peace? Or do we expose the truth no matter the cost? A challenge. The silence stretches, electric. And then the murmurs start. How deep does this go? Who else is involved? What other properties? And I'm just getting started. I grip the edges of the podium, my knuckles white against the polished wood. The crowd before me ripples with tension. Faces I've known my whole life, now twisted with uncertainty. And at the back, Celeste. Designer heels planted firmly on the marble floor. A megaphone raised like a weapon. My legal team from Harrison and Yale will be filing immediate action, she announces, her voice amplified, distorted. Anyone supporting Mira's fraudulent claims will face severe consequences. My tablet chimes, notifications flooding in. On the screen, doctored images, altered receipts, fabricated signatures. My renovation project, my 4 years of work, reduced to a web of deception. Sienna's PR team moves fast. Every platform floods with their carefully crafted lies. The evidence clearly shows systematic fraud, Celeste continues, voice sharp as she gestures toward a screen behind her. On it, twisted, manipulated video clips. My renovation updates, edited, spliced together, taken out of context. The crowd stirs. Some lean forward, some pull away, and in the midst of it all, independent media representatives huddle over laptops, their faces lit by screens as they fact-check in real time. And then, the first whispers of doubt. The timestamps don't match. These signatures look off. I work fast. Speaking of fraud, I say, my voice cutting through the static, let's talk about evidence. I tap my tablet. The screen behind me flickers. The first email appears. Sienna's message to Damien. Timestamp clear as crystal. Once we force the sale, the profit margins will be astronomical. Mira's too naive to fight back. A collective murmur. Sienna's megaphone wavers. With methodical precision, I continue. Here's the original permit application. A swipe. And here, another swipe. Sienna's forged version. I zoom in. Note the identical signature, pixel for pixel. Our forgery software leaves traces, cousin. The crowd shifts. A journalist in the front row types furiously. Nathan, my brother, my ally, meets my gaze and nods. Behind him, influential investors lean forward, their faces hardening. "This is it," Celeste snaps. "This is absurd," she shrieks. "Those documents are clearly time-stamped and notarized," I finish, flipping to the final screen, and the truth unfurls before them. Sienna's lies exposed. The room holds its breath. And Celeste? She's just lost everything. I pull my grandmother's locket from beneath my blazer, clicking it open to reveal a tiny USB drive. "Including the audio recording from your meeting with Adrian last week?" I say, my voice ringing clear through the tense silence. "The one where you outlined the entire scheme." The megaphone slips from Sienna's fingers, clattering against the marble floor. The sound echoes, sharp and final, through the hushed convention center. I reach into my pocket, pulling out a single business card, crisp and white, against my dark sleeve. The logo gleams under the fluorescent lights, Jalucas Reed Law Offices. With deliberate slowness, I hold it up for the crowd to see, then let it fall. It lands face up on the podium, a silent declaration of war. And just like that, the power in the room shifts. Where Celeste once commanded attention, she now stands isolated. Adrian, the man who once stood so confidently by her side, is already stepping away, his phone pressed to his ear. Even from here, I catch fragments of his panicked conversation. "Withdraw immediately. Reputation risk. Can't be associated." I let the silence stretch, heavy with unspoken promises. "The formal lawsuit will be filed today," I announce. My voice is measured, unwavering. "Anyone involved in this conspiracy has 24 hours to come forward voluntarily. After that, I let the pause hang, thick with meaning, and then the dam breaks. Family members who once wavered step forward. This manipulation ends now." Uncle Marcus, his voice firm, resolute. "You've gone too far, Celeste." Aunt Helen, typically reserved, her public denouncement another nail in the coffin. The convention center erupts, controlled chaos. Investors pull out their phones. Family members cluster in urgent discussions. The once glamorous event is now a battlefield, and Celeste? She's losing allies by the second. I watch as her carefully constructed world collapses, the space around her growing emptier as one by one. Her most powerful supporters, family, business partners. Even her PR team back away. For the first time since this all began, she looks afraid. I stand alone in the now hushed convention center, my hands mechanically gathering files, securing backup drives. Each document represents a piece of my life I've fought to protect. The renovation receipts, the permit applications, 4 years of dreams, defended through sheer force of will. The quiet feels different now, not like defeat, but like victory. I settle into a corner chair, allowing myself a moment to absorb the magnitude of what just happened. I catch my reflection in the darkened windows. Someone changed. Hardened, maybe. But unbroken. Then, I see it. A new email. Buried beneath the chaos of the past few weeks, an anonymous sender. The subject line makes my breath catch. "Sienna's scheme is just the tip of the iceberg." My pulse quickens. I scan the contents, a pattern of corruption extending far beyond my apartment, beyond Celeste and Damien. This isn't just about me anymore. This could shake the entire market. The convention center lights dim, signaling the official end of the event. But for me, this feels less like an ending, and more like a prelude. I close my tablet, the whistleblower's email burning in my thoughts. Some people say revenge is best served cold. I've learned it's best served with irrefutable evidence and perfect timing. Sunlight streams through the expansive windows of my living room, casting long shadows across the restored hardwood floors. I pause in the center of the space, trailing my fingers along the smooth grain of wood I spent countless weekends sanding and staining. Each board tells a story, not just of renovation, but of reclamation. The soft glow catches the brass handles of my grandmother's antique sideboard, now proudly displayed against the exposed brick wall I painstakingly restored. My reflection fragments across its polished surface, a woman transformed. Taller, stronger, eyes bright with hard-won wisdom. I step toward a framed photograph on the wall, a frozen moment from that fateful night at Langston Convention Center, Celeste's engagement party. The night everything changed. In the image, crystal chandeliers cast fractured light across shocked faces as I stood at the podium, evidence in hand. The memory still bites, but now, the pain has mellowed into something else, something stronger, Coffee's ready. I turn to see Lucas in the doorway, holding out a steaming mug. His presence, once a source of tension, now feels like a quiet comfort. The simple gesture speaks volumes about how far we've come. His eyes flicker to the photograph. "Sometimes I still can't believe how it all played out," he murmurs. I take the coffee, inhaling its rich aroma. Neither can I. I glance around at the space I fought for, the home I saved. And for the first time in a long, long time, I know that every step led me here. The doorbell chimes, and I welcome the people who stood by me when everything fell apart. Elsie arrives first, pulling me into a fierce embrace, her warmth grounding me in a way few things can. Ethan follows, his shoulders still tight with the weight of his own workplace betrayal. One by one, the others filter in. Friends, family members who chose truth over manipulation, the allies who helped expose the corruption that had poisoned my family for so long. We gather in the dining area, where laughter and real conversation have replaced the hollow pleasantries of the past. Soft jazz hums from the vintage record player. A restoration project that, much like my life, took longer than expected but turned out better than I ever imagined. The music mingles with clinking glasses, the low murmur of voices, creating a symphony of healing. Across the room, I spot Ethan by the window, his glass loosely held in one hand, his gaze distant. "How are you holding up?" I ask, recognizing that look, the raw sting of betrayal still fresh. He exhales slowly. "Some days are harder than others." His fingers tap against the rim of his glass. "The legal team says we have a strong case, but..." He trails off, the weight of uncertainty pressing on his shoulders. "But you're worried about the personal cost," I finish for him. The sleepless nights, the constant second-guessing. I lean against the windowsill, choosing my words carefully. When Celeste first orchestrated my eviction, I thought I'd never trust anyone again. But here's what I learned. Exposing the truth doesn't just protect you. It protects everyone they might have hurt next. Ethan's jaw tightens, but the tension in his shoulders eases just slightly. "How did you stay so focused?" he asks. "Keep fighting when it felt impossible?" "I documented everything," I say simply. "Every conversation, every email, every suspicious glance. You build your case like you're constructing a house, a solid foundation first, then add each piece with purpose." I meet his eyes, making sure he hears me. "And most importantly, remember, you're not alone." The gathering stretches into the evening, the conversations shifting from heavy to hopeful. But eventually the last guest leaves, and I find myself alone on the balcony, the cool night air wrapping around me like a familiar embrace. The city hums below, streetlights flickering against the dark pavement. I pull out my tablet, fingers moving instinctively across the screen as I refine my latest project. A community initiative to protect others from the kind of exploitation I faced. Legal resources, documentation strategies, a network of support. This isn't just about what I lost anymore, it's about ensuring no one else has to fight alone. The first rays of sunrise break over the skyline, washing the city in soft golds and gentle pinks. The warmth seeps into my skin, but I don't just feel the sun, I feel the shift. I think back to the day I received the eviction notice, the night I uncovered Sienna's manipulation, the moment I stood at the podium at her engagement party and exposed the truth. Those memories don't haunt me anymore, they strengthen me. I glance around my apartment, the space that once felt like a battlefield between family loyalty and justice. Not anymore. Now it's command central for something bigger than myself. I press my palms against the railing, the cool metal solid beneath my touch. Beyond the horizon, a new day begins, full of stories waiting to be rewritten, wrongs waiting to be righted. My own story has shifted from victim to victor, but this isn't the end. This is the beginning. The sunrise after the longest night, and this time, I'm building something that can never be taken away.